Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing great and welcome back to another video by me, Astrei. As some of you may know, I am someone who has really vivid dreams. Some people have a lot of trouble recalling what they dreamed the night before after waking up, and some people can't even dream at all. But to me, every single night is a different, unique experience. So in this video, I want to talk about my sleep paralysis demon. When I was younger, I heard one of my uncles talk about his sleep paralysis experience. He mentioned that one time he woke up in a cold sweat where he saw an alien-looking figure in the corner of his room. This creature was slowly approaching him, trying to take him away. He couldn't scream, he tried to cry, but he couldn't, and he thought he was going to die. Naturally, 7-year-old Astrei thought he was making this up to scare me, so to me sleep paralysis was always stupid and not real, until it happened to me. But before we begin, I am once again being annoying and asking you to please subscribe. We are 70 subscribers away from reaching 1,000 subscribers, and I'm finally on my summer break, which means I will get to make more videos for you guys. I also need to get a job, because rent is crazy high here. I'm literally and unironically 2 months away from being homeless. I'm not joking. I need help. So, if you enjoy my silly Astrei posting, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. You have no idea how much this would help. But anyway, that's enough unironic e-begging, but let's begin. I briefly mentioned this in my Omori video, which you should check out because it's pretty damn good. A really bad habit I have is to sleep when things get too difficult for me. I adore sleeping, it's one of the biggest pleasures in life. However, this pleasure almost destroyed my life a couple of years ago. Thankfully, I was able to fix these awful coping mechanisms, having learned something. I learned that dreams are very special and important to me. Dreams are a gateway into the subconscious, which is something I fully believe. I think that there is a part of your mind that you simply can't reach. So every time I dream about something, I put a lot of value into it. Because if my subconscious mind, something that I'm not supposed to interact with, is telling me a message, then it must be important. As some of you can tell, I am someone who struggles with mental health issues. Thankfully, I'm stable at the moment, and this is because I got the treatment I needed. But what happens when you don't? So this happened in early 2022 if I remember correctly. I was taking a pill for my depression and a pill for my anxiety, which for a while worked wonderfully, but literally some random day without explanation, things started to go down real quick. I started feeling so anxious, I went and talked to a different psychiatrist who was like, okay, then maybe we need to change the anxiety medication for this one. Things started to go to shit once more. So my mom has a neurologist friend, and then I talked to him and he was like, boy, you're taking antipsychotics for your depression. That's the thing that, and I was like, oh. So I once again switched up my medication and I thought things were gonna be okay. After I started taking this medication, I did notice some changes. Yes, my depression was calming down and so was my anxiety, but I started to have a lot of trouble falling asleep. I don't have an issue falling asleep, but now it seems so difficult and I started having really bad insomnia. Then, every time I woke up, I always felt exhausted, like I hadn't rested not even a couple of minutes. Then I started having really vivid nightmares. It just kept escalating and escalating and escalating. I was feeling like a zombie. Entire nights would pass without me sleeping a single minute, and the times I was able to sleep, I would have the most horrifying and vile nightmares. All of this exhaustion and emotional dread I was having from my dreams culminated in one particular night, where I was in the living room playing video games or something, and then I eventually passed out and fell asleep. It was actually pretty early. And little would I know that this was one of the worst things I have ever experienced in my entire life. I closed my eyes and I was able to fall asleep. I actually rested this time, and then I woke up. It was still dark outside, so I assumed it must be like 2 AM or 3 AM. So I decided to get up and get a snack. I rubbed my eyes, I stretched, and I got up to go to the kitchen. I took a couple of steps to leave the living room, and then I woke up. I was really confused because I thought I had already gotten up to go to the kitchen. I assumed it was just my imagination, so then I rubbed my eyes, stretched, got up, and tried to go to the kitchen. This time I was able to leave, but then, when I was beside my staircase, I woke up once again. I was really confused, because I could have sworn this had already happened twice. So then I get up, go to the kitchen, and look at my stairs. So I tried to take a step further, and then I woke up. After I opened my eyes, I took this big sigh of relief. I thought it was so creepy to have this dream where I felt like I had woken up 3 times only to start over and start over again. So I decided to just sit there for a while. And then I wanted to go to the kitchen. And then you can probably guess what happened next. Every time I woke up, it felt like it was finally the real thing. But then I started to notice some strange things. After every cycle, I was able to walk a bit closer to the kitchen. But I noticed that my living room suddenly got a bit larger, and that the stairs had a couple more steps than usual. In front of my steps is the bathroom, and when I looked at the bathroom, I noticed that the door was further away. I tried to get close to the bathroom, and then I woke up. Now, my living room was even larger, the staircase was even taller, and the bathroom was even further away. I could see how distant the kitchen was starting to become. I was so frustrated, I tried to run to the kitchen, but every time I would wake up and face this all over again, except it was further each time. Every single time I woke up, my house started to get more distorted. In the beginning, rooms only got bigger, but as I started to feel more anxious, and as the loops kept happening, there were glitches or distortions. There was an extra staircase generating besides my staircase. Some windows started to multiply. There were more doors than usual. My house was starting to become a mess. I would explore the bathrooms, the many bathrooms, and then the many stairs, and open the many windows. I was so stressed and so anxious. There was a point where I was probably in loop 50 or 100. The stairs would connect to the ceiling, and the ceiling would have bathroom doors that led to more stairs that led to my living room, where you could go inside of the staircase and see the kitchen, and if you tried to go to the kitchen, you would go back to the living room. I would always wake up and see this distorted place that I once called my home. I wanted to wake up so bad. I felt like I was there for an eternity. My time perception was so fucked. I could have sworn I was there for months or even years. I kept exploring, trying to find my kitchen or my room or someone to ask help for, but no one would answer. In the end, I just gave up, and I was gonna be there forever. There wasn't even a point in exploring the place anymore, because it had gotten so big, a human could never look through every single space. And then after so much time, I finally woke up. I opened my eyes, and I was so scared I was gonna see the same things over and over again, but it was my living room. I finally was home. There were no weird staircases or strange doors that led to nowhere. No. I was finally home. It was probably still 2 a.m., but I was so tired from endlessly walking to nowhere that I was fine with it. So I tried to take a big sigh. My chest felt heavy, so I tried again, and I couldn't. Breathing was so difficult. I tried to move my hands, and I couldn't. I tried to move my legs and get up, but I couldn't. And then I tried looking left from the corner of my eye. There was something in there. This humanoid looking figure that was just staring at me from the corner, and he started to get closer and closer and closer. I could barely see what it was. He was just this humanoid figure with these awful ominous noises coming from behind him, these agitated breaths. It looked exhausted or upset, and then it got right in front of me. I couldn't move my hands, I couldn't move my legs to run, I couldn't scream, I couldn't ask for help. I was going to die. This is what I call the Bunny Man. This creature was made out of something that looked like a sack. This sack was also very torn and badly sewn, but what creeped me out the most was its limbs. Its arms and one of its legs were not covered by the sack, and it was this putrid corpse looking thing. It was wounded, or maybe it wounded someone because it was covered in blood. And then I looked at its face. It was this creepy, awful sack mask looking thing that had something resembling bunny ears, and it had no eyes. It was just these really dark and obscure cavities. I was frozen. You have no idea how awful this was. I could barely distinguish what it was. I was hyperventilating. I felt like I was going to die. And then this thing does this really fast and aggressive move where he grabs my arms and then takes out a sack, puts it over my face and ties it with a really hard knot on my neck. Tries to grab me. It couldn't lift me, but it tried grabbing me by my thorax and then by my waist and then with all of my limbs, but it tried really hard to get me out of the couch. I couldn't see what was happening, but I could hear everything. He was gasping and sniffing, and I could hear it walking up the steps, trying to run away and jumping through windows and bathroom doors. I was apparently back at the maze, but I couldn't see it. I could just hear this thing moving around it. The bunnyman was able to lift me up, and he was going to take me somewhere. I don't know if this place was full of creatures like this or that he could multiply or something, but there was a point where I could see a little bit from the sack, and there was 3 of them, but each one was different. Each one was disfigured in a different way. Both of these bunnymen looked so putrid. They had tumors. They were rotting. One of them had an eye and it was falling out. The other's jaw was broken and I just couldn't move. I closed my eyes and I prayed things would be over soon. I tried to scream, but I just couldn't. And then, after a while of struggling, I was in my couch. I opened my eyes and things were back to normal once again. The nightmare was finally over. And this is when I realized I had just experienced sleep paralysis for the first time. I still couldn't move. I was gradually gaining movement as time went on. At first I was just able to move my fingers, and then my arms, and then my legs, and then I was back to normal. But I was too scared to even get up, because I felt someone was in there. What if this was another loop? What if the bunnyman showed up again? I was just so scared. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to go to the kitchen to jinx it and go through this loop again. So when I finally gained mobility, I was just paralyzed, but not out of physical impediment. I was just so scared to do anything. And this was my sleep paralysis experience. I didn't want to continue with the new meds treatment. I was just so horrified and tired. I didn't want to go through this again. But as some of you may know, it is not that particularly healthy to just suddenly stop taking a particular medication. So I sadly had to continue taking it for a couple more weeks. It's sad because from that point onward, every single dream involved to some degree sleep paralysis. Like for real, I hadn't experienced it until I was like 18 or 17. And then it just didn't stop for a couple of nights. The only other sleep paralysis demon I remember was just this strange looking man that would just stalk me. My mom has insomnia, so she actually caught me having sleep paralysis for the second time. She had no idea what was going on, but she thankfully noticed and woke me up. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole story. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and sharing it with a friend, or maybe comment your sleep paralysis experiences down below. Maybe if I find something that is really interesting or fucked up, I could make a sequel video on it reacting to your sleep paralysis demons. This whole story can be summarized with that stupid tweet that's like, do you ever get so tired you start seeing spiders? And then another person says, me when I take 17 Benadryl and start seeing the Hat Man. The what? Oh, is this not a safe space suddenly? That's me, but with the bunny man. Please take your antipsychotics, kids. Beware of the bunny man. I swear he's out there and he's coming to get me. 1B1B me, bitch. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed this video, once again, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and commenting any fun stories. But yeah, please remember to be careful, beware of the bunny man, and eat your vegetables. Bye bye.